Good evening, YouTube. I know it's paused at the moment. That's because I don't want to miss anything. Couple quick announcements. One, I did post the winners to the giveaway, and there is now a video released for the giveaway, so check that out. Someone won a motherboard, and then there were 7 more winners who took home Steam cards. So go check that out. Thanks for everybody who joined. And then also the campaign for Archaon is going to continue. I was playing ahead through some of the boring repetitive parts where I'm just having to beat down the same old Bretonnian garrisons, and I have some really exciting stuff coming for you on that. Until then, let's finish the Old World Challenge. This is the match between Preston and Reptile King. Neither one of them had won a match yet, so this is their match, and then I'll show you in another video my match with Wicked. We had both won both their battles, so the winner between Wicked and I wins the challenge, but this was going to be an awesome match of grudging dwarves against the Empire, and Reptile King has Boris and a warrior priest along with a witch hunter, and then his main line is going to be swordsman. His back line, he has some great swords to do a little AP damage, so there's going to be 4 of them in a back line. He has the silver bullets handguns over here on his far right hand flank, and then here in the woods there are 2 outriders and 2 outriders with grenade launchers. So there are sure to be a lot of guns in this fight. Should be a lot of fun. Now, as for the dwarf player, Preston, he's got a long beard with great weapon on both flanks, a front line of warriors, and then he has an entire line of slayers as a secondary, one of which is the Dragonback Slayer. And then he's got several thunders. There's 3 of those, an organ gun, and of course, on theme with Thorgrim. Let's hit play, and folks, I promise you, you're about to witness a very entertaining battle with some great action between dwarves and Empire. These outriders are going to make things interesting on this flank, of course. The dwarves do have a bit of a range advantage with their organ gun, and it has already opened fire and picked up 11 kills. Organ guns can do some pretty nice damage. Right here you can see they're actually firing at Boris. They didn't hit him. They're definitely better targeted onto elite infantry. That's going to be the best use for organ guns, and at this point the dwarves are falling back a little, wanting to use that range, and Preston has noticed the trap coming out of the woods. He's got the Dragonback Slayers for a bit of protection, and his Thunderers have turned, and we're going to get some grenade launcher action into the Dragonback Slayers, and the Outriders are firing from out of the woods as well. So a lot of range and good cover for the Outriders here. They won't want to stand in a just shootout match with these Thunderers for very long, though. And then the organ gun actually turns to face over here and takes a brutal volley. And so there is a big gun battle going on here on the flank. And then this is allowing Reptile King to move up with less resistance in the center, because Preston's flank is occupied. His own silver bullets are moving to the far flank. It's kind of weird, my sound cut out in my headset for a minute, so hopefully it didn't in the video. But yeah, anyway, a lot of gunplay over here. Reptile King has taken a lot of damage, though. He's going to need to pull away from those thunders, and then that artillery is taking a serious toll right now, having destroyed a great number of Outriders with grenade launchers. Some of the Outriders managed to get all the way around the flank, though. These Slayers are eating grenades. They're a little bit spread out, though, so they'll do a little better. So the infantry fight gets going. Everything that the dwarves have is superior to the Empire, with the exception of the greatswords. But Boris is going to be a pretty tough character. See the Outriders get into position. Try and kill Thorgrim. That is definitely a good target. Of course, shooting these Thunderers in the back may be good too. Let's see. The silver bullets are getting lined up. Yeah, they've got a great firing position over here, and they're getting a lot of kills as those Thunderers are focused on the enemy infantry. You can see that the dwarf infantry is going to hold out strong. It's heavily armored. Only the great swords have much of a chance here, and there's a lot of dwarf infantry to oppose them. And over here, the Thunderers and the organ gun are slowly working away so many of the Outriders. The massive range, the shields, the armor, it's all going to make a huge difference. And then the organ gun right now is kind of reigning supreme over range, because Reptile just doesn't have an answer to it. Though he does have some units here that could probably pull through to get to that organ gun, but it did take some hits. So the organ gun is starting to be in pretty bad shape there. I think its own Thunderers may have hit it there. Yeah, I think they did. I think the Thunderers hit their own organ gun and routed it. But the gunfire in this battle is extremely entertaining for me, at least. I love like big gun battles. The only thing I wish is that Warhammer had like the big awesome smoke effects, like Total War Napoleon, or Napoleon Total War. Let's get up close on some of this infantry fight. The Dwarf Warriors are being buffed by Thorgrim. Thorgrim does a good job of buffing up infantry units for the dwarves as best he can. Though some of these units are actually nerfed down pretty significantly now because of Boris being present. He has the nerfing ability on him. Some of the Thunderers over here taking a bit of a beating. The Longbeards are wanting to get a hold of the Silver Bullets, and they well should. Silver Bullets, a cool unit, but honestly probably not the best pick against the Dwarves because all their units have magic resistance, which means that 25% of the damage on the Silver Bullets is avoided by the Dwarves, and more on some units, especially if it's like a Rune Lord out there to buff. There's a Thunder out here who is quite healthy, and things not looking great for the Empire at the moment because they don't have a ton of infantry left. These Great Swords are kind of their only hope, and the Great Swords have performed fairly well. And these Silver Bullets have to go up against the armored, shielded Thunderers with the disadvantage of their magic being somewhat ineffective against these targets. But some of the Outriders are coming back into play. This Thunderer unit is about to cop it. Unfortunately for Reptile King, there's two more. The Warrior Priest is out. The Great Swords break on the far flank. Boris, however, is holding quite strong and doing some nice work against Thorgrim. But even without a leader, the dwarves can be difficult to break at best, especially when you think that three of these Slayer, there are four Slayer units still in the battlefield. The Witch Hunter is trying to steer clear, but got Slayers chasing him, so there's actually 5 Slayer units. Or no, that's a Dwarf Warrior. Okay, 4 Slayer units. I was right the first time. But these Outriders should be able to get rid of some of these Slayer units. The Silver Bullets are still gunning away for these Thunders. Well, there's not a whole lot that the Empire can do about the Thunderers right now. You can see, though, the Empire units regrouping in the background. So they may have a chance to try and come back against the Dwarves here. And the balance of power, though, is swinging in favor of the Dwarves, understandably here. And then Boris routes right there in the middle. He's not able to hold his leadership together. So let's see as the Empire attempts to regroup out here. There is a pretty healthy Greatsword back here. It can potentially do some damage if it can stay away from the Thunderers. Right now the Thunderers are blasting away at the Silver Bullets. And the Organ Gun crew is back from routing. I'm not sure if they can remount their artillery. It depends on where they left. Yeah, it's right here. They just haven't been remounted yet. Boris is healing. And then the Warrior Priest is going to put some hurt down on Thorgrim. Charges in. Boris may come back because he's got this... well, that Shield of Faith is good. That's going to help a lot. Oh, the Warrior Priest, though, looks like he's going to buy the farm here. And Thorgrim probably won't die to just standard swordsman. This Greatsword gets in back here. Unfortunately, though, its back is turned to the guns. The Empire was rallying and had some units to be helpful here. I'm not sure if they could have overcome all the Slayers in the end. But just with no answer to the guns, even though it's kind of a cool rally, I just don't think that they're going to have what it takes to pull this off, despite Boris coming back into the fight. Boris's infantry is going to rout, and he won't be able to get in here and be able to do enough damage. And like I said, you got all these Slayers that are unbreakable. They're going to fight to the last dwarf, like right here. These, or actually, it's not a Slayer. Their signs look like almost, they are identical. It's kind of hard to tell the difference sometimes. This Thunder is almost out of ammo, but they've got plenty left to do some tremendous damage. Look at that. Thorgrim teetering on the brink of death, but teetering on the leadership is Boris. Oh, Boris nearly takes Thorgrim with him. And so Preston takes down a Reptile King and brings at least one grudge back for the dwarves, fulfilled, but having had to write down 2 others, one against the greenskins, one against the vampires. That was a fun battle. I loved all the gunplay there. It was a lot of fun just to see the guns like shooting it out with each other. You don't see a ton of that in Warhammer 2, and I always enjoy getting a good gun battle going on. So you had Silver Bullets, 2 Outriders, 2 grenade launchers. Now, Outriders with grenade launchers can be downright devastating against the dwarves. But the way you make them devastating is you have to first deal with the dwarf skirmishers and artillery. Then you bring those units out, and they are completely unstoppable for the dwarves. Like, they just can't be stopped. And so I usually think it's cool whenever you can get those 2 units, or 1 unit of grenade launchers, whatever it ends up being, you hide them, and you have some cavalry or a flyer or something like that to get in and take care of the dwarf skirmishers, and then you wheel those units out, regroup some of your routing units to keep some distance, and then just come in and hammer the dwarves with grenades. It can be a very effective way at ridding yourself of them. Outriders can be handy too, again, if you can clear out the dwarf foot skirmishers first. Then Outriders and Outriders with grenade launchers are both extremely good against the dwarves, so can be a very handy pick. Now, in terms of the army pick, it does get very expensive to bring a whole lot of great swords. Reptile King had 4 of them. I feel like that's also a good pick. You kind of have to do it because all the dwarf infantry is armored. You don't have a whole lot of other way around this unless you're just going to shoot them to death. So another option is that you can go with like 2 or 3 cannons for the Empire to win the range fight. And then you also load up on 3 or 4 handguns. At that point, you can have cheap infantry as long as you have a way to deal with slayers chasing your handguns. So if your infantry can keep the slayers away long enough for your handguns to basically pick off Thorgrim and then start working their way down from there. And then again, after that, if you had a grenade launcher hidden in the woods or something like that, you can really wreak havoc. It's a bit risky. You got to kite a little to get the job done, but that's another way that the Empire can deal with dwarves. But the dwarves with their high armor, shields, and other stuff like that can certainly exert some power over the Empire in certain respects. They can certainly put up a skirmish better on foot. However, the Empire is not to be underestimated in an artillery fight. And so I think that's where the dwarves have to be careful, is you can't assume you're going to win an artillery fight per se against the Empire, because they have very affordable options. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed that one. It was a lot of fun between Preston and Reptile King. Thanks to both of them for participating. Make sure you come back. I've got the battle between Wicked and I, so I have to take on Wicked's Troll Squig Steamroller army that he's got set up there, the Troll Squig Roller. It's going to be a lot of fun. I will see you all there.